Okay, welcome. Let me do one more. So I have to go through a procedure to set up the stream. I have to use a separate laptop to watch the stream because I don't want to use resources on my trading computer. And what's nice is with OBS, Open Broadcasting Systems streaming software, I can chat on my computer to the folks in the stream. So welcome. I know I'm late, so there's no one there. People probably thought we weren't streaming, but now if you subscribe to the notification bell, you'll get a notification on your phone that we are streaming. So that's why if you like coming to streams, get the notification, join the channel, and click on the notification bell, obviously. Okay. Welcome to the Pro Trader and Plus Oil Inventories. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director at 10 Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. Now, I do think I completely screwed up the time of this stream. I think we were scheduled at 9:15, so I apologize, everyone. If you're trying to watch this stream and we weren't here earlier, nope, I was scheduled at 10, so you didn't miss the market open. But I'm a little bit late and I apologize. So if you're watching us out there, I don't see anybody out there. I was late, so hopefully you'll come now. All right, so we've got an oil trade. First thing is, what is the current contract for oil? So what if you don't know, but you know the prefix? Type the prefix on your chart, CL, nothing else, and then look down below for the future. CL future, crude oil future, double click it. And it should put the correct oil contract on your chart. We are oil CL925. And then I will put MCL on my right chart. It'll be the same contract, 0925. And that will be, let me put it on the right chart. That'll be if we want to do an after the news trade. So on the right chart, I'm going to do MCL 0925. And I see a few folks are starting to come to the stream. Sorry we're late, everyone out there. We just got here late. I apologize for that. It's my fault. MCL 925. And then the other piece that helps me is I always want to use, for years we've been using investing.com. Why do we use this website? Now, most of you probably know, but why do we use investing.com on all of our news? Okay? All of our news. So you go to the website investing.com and you click economic calendar. Whatever you got to do to find it. Sometimes you have to click tools and economic calendar. Sometimes when you go to the site, it'll be right there. But just know you have to find the economic calendar. And sometimes it's under tools. Sometimes you'll find it right there, depending which part of the website you happen to log into. And then you scroll down. Generally, I like to have the whole week, this week, checked. All right. And then I scroll down, close running ads to reduce resource use. And then I'm looking for the oil inventory report. Now, it's Wednesday, so scroll to Wednesday, but you can also see previous news. And somebody still out there is going to find me the trade for the global dairy trade, New Zealand and U.S. milk auctions. There is a trade there with grains, and I don't know what it is. I'm scrolling down past yesterday's API. There was a drawdown, not big enough to have any bearing on today's news report. If that was a 12 million barrel drawdown, we would probably get a drawdown on this report today. But when it's not super big or super small, it generally has no effect. So we're going to find the CL inventory report. And the only news I want is the crude oil inventory change. It's got a forecast, so I'm going to scroll right to there. Then I'm going to shrink myinvesting.com. And this is why I really like this website for monitoring news as it's being released. Yes, many websites, news calendar sites, show the news in real time being released. But this particular website, it's very easy to configure it this way so it can become almost like a part of my Ninja Trader charts. And that's why I like it. And I don't have to sign in. I don't have to, you can be a guest and use it. You don't even have to register to do this. And generally, you'll still get the results. So what we have here is a forecast previous week, and the result will show up when the news comes out. And we sometimes take an after the news trade based on the news results with micros. So I'll put a micro strategy on, click News Trader, click Reverse Continue, and I will use position 1, 2 contracts. That's all I'm doing. It's $1 a contract. Oil is $10 a tick normally. The micro is 1/10 of that, so it's $1 per tick per contract. So 2 contracts is $2 per tick. And I'll do a target of 20 ticks. Let's do 40 ticks. I don't expect that much. And we'll do a stop of 50. All right, it's micros, remember. So you can use a decent sized stop. And this is just a scalp. So remember, this is just a scalp. And I'm going to label it MCL scalp. All right, we can label it that, and we'll put it in one of our prop accounts, not your open account. Keep your open set for opens. I'll put it back into that 18 account that I lost money on scalping the YM this morning, but I want to try and build that back up today. So I'll do my MCL scalp in account 18. All right, and that was my scalp that lost money. But I now have a reverse continuation possibility set up in a prop account. And I'm going to put it on 30 seconds. 30-second chart, all right? Because I like the squeeze signals best on a 30-second chart, okay? And then we have our breakout. If you look at the oil DMM, the oil DMM is 50-50, all right? If I bring up quickly a couple of others, if we look at a couple of other DMMs quickly, to just get a snapshot of how the oil breakout's been trading, if you go back to April, it's terrible. One winner out of 6 weeks. If we go into June, July, it's better. 4 out of 6. And now, 3 out of 6. We've had 2 cancels in a row. We had a stop and a cancel. All right? Stop and a cancel. I'm going to trade this breakout today. All right? It's had 2 lousy ones in a row. It's kind of due for a decent move. All right? We're not like out of control, bullish or bearish on oil at the moment. Looking at a 15-minute chart, we've had a bearish moment, okay? We've had a bearish moment at 10 o'clock. There might have been something that was said at 10 that we weren't paying attention to, close to 10. So we've had a fairly significant sell-off at 10 o'clock. I'm just thinking, boy, that leads me to think there was probably news. There really wasn't any news at 10. There was no news. I'm just checking. I'm checking the Financial Juice Pro news feed to see if anything was said. At 10 o'clock, there was talk about China cutting Russian oil imports, so that could very much be the impetus. And Trump talking about additional tariffs on India because they're selling oil, they're selling Russian oil. But I think the oil report has been giving an opportunity to cancel. So if it doesn't burst pretty quickly, I will cancel it. And it's not a high profit, great report. So just keep that in mind, folks. This is not one of our best reports. So if you're going to trade it, be prepared. It's a $400 risk. All right. I'm trading it in a prop account that is struggling. It's a 10, 29, 58 trigger. It's a 12 bracket. Target 1 is 10 ticks. Target 2 is 20. The stop is 20. All right. Like I said, breakout oil. I'm going to leave it for a moment in sim to test the bracket width. And if it hits my first target, I'll move my stop to break even -5. All right. So I'm going to just put the time on 0 for a moment. Apply it and OK it. Test the event. Okay, that's a pretty nice tradable bracket that allows you to manage a trade. That's why I set the time to 0. Right click strategies, put the time back to 10:29:58. Choose the account you're trading in, right? I said I was going to trade it in 18, which is the account I lost money in trading, scalping the YM. Apply it, okay it. Put your chart trader on 18, and we're ready to go. I have a turn on the trade, don't forget. I have a setup for after the news with micros on the right chart, and we have our breakout on the left chart. And then our last event of the day, we will be back for the 10-year note auction, right, at 12:30. So now we have about 4 minutes till the news. So people seem to enjoy trading the opens. There are many different ways you can trade the opens. And don't forget, oil has an open. Oil opens at 9 o'clock. Oil has an open that during the pandemic, we used to trade the open. I haven't looked at it in a long time. I stopped looking at it when it became less interesting to trade. You know, you look at this morning, the oil open did not have a good initial candle. its initial candle, while not all that big, it was only an 11 tick candle. You know, if you had a 15 tick bracket, it wouldn't have filled you. You can use a bracket, you could use a range on the oil open. But 9 o'clock is the oil open. So if you decide, hey, I'd like to trade the oil open, what should you do? You should learn NinjaTrader Playback, right? Or look, let's say you don't want to spend the time on NinjaTrader Playback, although I highly recommend that you learn it. If you want to find new trades on your own, if you know how to do a playback, you could download the data for 2 weeks of oil opens, right? Download the oil data every day for 2 weeks. Set up a trade and trade 2 weeks in a row of opens and test your setup. And it's really just a couple hours of work. And you either come up with a good setup, a promising setup that maybe you want to do some more testing, a setup that, hey, this is interesting. Maybe I'll try it with micros. No reason why you can't test micros if you do your setup. But that's an intelligent approach to doing what we do because we don't know everything, every setup, every instrument. There's too much. It's unlimited just by your imagination. So in 1 minute and 10 seconds, the oil news will come out. This is a separate video, Arthur, yes. So why is this going to move the market? Possibly because they're expecting a 200 million barrels, right? Not a 200,000 is what they're expecting. A build of 200,000. 0.200 million, right? That's a build of 200,000. If there's a build of 5 million, that could push oil to the downside. If there's a drawdown of 5 million, that could push oil to the upside. Either way, if you get no move at all, I might just cancel the breakout. I prefer a burst. I prefer a quick move on this report. Now, we got a burst up. It's a decent sized drawdown. I'd like to see at least a test of the first target. And the one thing we struggle with oil, and it looks like it's going to fail, is oil doesn't always follow the news. Now, on a report like this, I would combine my orders because I'm worried this isn't going to even hit my first target. My first target is 10. I've combined my orders. I've shrunk the target. I've shrunk my stop a little bit. I don't want to shrink it too much because I don't want to get stopped. I'd like to see, so it popped up and it gave me both my targets. Okay? It gave me both my targets. I was not looking at how much I was down before this trade started, but I was down over 250 bucks, right? So we made about 120 bucks. We made about 120 bucks instantly on that trade. I was very conservative because it truly looked like it was going to stop us out. And I was concerned for a variety of reasons. We had this big move down prior to the news. And we weren't sure what caused that news also. We looked in the news feed and we didn't see the reason. So I didn't want to take the risk of waiting for my targets to get hit. So I was very aggressive. And we made 120 bucks. And look, It didn't continue following through. So I feel like we kind of did the right thing this morning on this. There's very often slippage, as Calvin is saying. There does look like slippage on the entry because it went up the candle before it filled. There often can be slippage on an oil and a gas trade on the entries. Just by its nature, that happens. Okay. But we made money. And I basically took this as a probability trade. What does that mean? So I like probability trades. You know, we looked at a snapshot, right? Before the news, we looked at three other DMMs. They were decent. Oil was 4 out of 6. Oil was, one of them was lousy, but it went back the furthest. Then it looked better. This week we were 50%. Probability to me means we had two losers, one loser and a cancel in the past 2 weeks. And then we had a winner before that, a stop and two winners. So we had basically, we had 1 out of 3 winners, but we had two losers in a row in a 50-50 report, so that if we are in a better trading period, because the last DMM was a lot better than this one, the probability of 3 losers in a row is smaller than the probability of a possible profit. So I took the shot. It wasn't a great probability trade. There's a lot better ones. But my feeling was we're looking at DMMs for the last two of them. So it's really 6 to 8 weeks. Because remember, DMM's only adding 1 week at a time. Every week we add one trade drops off and another one gets added. But it looks like oil's trading a little better than it had been. So it seemed like it's worth the shot. We took the shot, we made money. If you just went on today's DMM, it was only a 50-50 DMM. You might not have traded that. All right. But if you go back, if you save your DMMs so that you can go back, then you have the opportunity to take these little bit deeper dive trades that are based on intelligent analysis. The thing I don't like about oil, more than any other instrument that we trade, most other news, if you get a 3 million drawdown when they're expecting a positive build, that's significant in the difference. In the news offset, that's considered significant, right? Expecting 200,000 and you get 3 million plus the 200,000 because it wasn't a drawdown of 200,000, it was a build. So I add that to the 3 million because it's even more than what was expected by 200,000. It's significant, but it really looked like oil was going to stop us out. It so happens that it didn't, and it wouldn't have today. But oil's history is so troublesome with not following the news direction. We got filled at 83 long. It went down only 9 ticks. We have a 20 stop. Nope, sorry, it went down 13 ticks. It truly started to look like it was going to stop us out. It was only 7 ticks away. It's not much with oil. And then it changed its mind and it followed the news. All right. Anyway, that's my thinking on why I took this trade. And like I said, starting to building back this account from this morning's scalp. I think it was $105 profit on this trade. That's what I think. Anyway, we'll be back 12:30 for the 10-year bond, right? 10-year note. It's a note, not a bond. Thank you on YouTube. Everybody on YouTube, let me put the link for our webinar that's coming up tomorrow. Going to do earnings because we are in the middle of earnings season. So let me put that link for everyone watching us on YouTube. Thanks for joining. And everybody in the room, if you want to come to the webinar, you're always welcome to come. Always, if you register for the webinar, you'll always get emailed the recording, plus 8 billion emails to join our service, so just ignore those. But if you want an automatic email of the webinar, just register for the webinar, and it'll automatically get emailed to you. So I'll see everybody back at 12:30 for the 10-year auction. See you later.